First, thank you very much for having me in your radio, which is a very appreciated radio, and I do appreciate, and the people working with me appreciate the job you do, which is very delicate and very deep in my view. I've been here for 1 year and a half, more or less, coming from New York, where I was heading the press office of the Italian Embassy to the United Nations. Most of my career was spent in the United States and in Rome with the Prime Minister office. I dealt with Balkans. I wanted to come to Sarajevo. It's in the heart of this region. It's very important for us Italians. And the bilateral relations are profound and deep, and now that I'm here I realize that there is a lot of common things between Italy and Bosnia. I would say we are two southern states. Well, geographically you have been blessed by God. I use the word God, but any kind of God, you've been blessed, because this is geographically a wonderful country. It's actually two different countries in one country. Bosnia, with its mountains, reminding in some spots Switzerland, and Austria and Herzegovina, which reminds me also my home region. It's completely Mediterranean, not only the geographical part, but also the kind of food and wine you have in that region. So I really have to say that I fall in love with this country, and I travel a lot around the country. At least twice a week I go somewhere for business around the country, and it's always a pleasure, apart from the roads, of course, which is not at all a pleasure. Politically it's a very complex situation. You know better than I do. The state is very complex and articulated, and this is the price we paid, I think, altogether to have peace in Bosnia in 1995, in order to get the signatures on that important piece of paper, which is called Dayton. The compromise was done in a way that maybe 20 years after you realize that it's not a way which is a perfect way to build a state. So good to stop a war, but maybe not the perfect way to build a state. With regard to the third part of your question was
cultural crossroads.
Cultural crossroads. I mean, it's the soul of this region. I was mentioning in many other talks during this last month that we had the Italian Cultural Month in Sarajevo, that the DNA of this country and the genetic code of Sarajevo is culture. It's something that not even a tragedy like a war could disrupt. You steal the seeds of this history of culture, of openness, of a cosmopolitan approach. You see them also in young people, and not only in the people that lived, the Sarajevo, the real Sarajevo crossroad, but also the people that were born basically after the war. So many young people. You feel that in their DNA there is some cultural attitude. I think that this brings the people here also to be very absorbing of culture, but also very discerning. They know what to pick. They have a taste, which is a natural taste, and this made things very easy for me, representing a supercultural power like Italy, to use this channel of collaboration to foster our relationship. Well, the economic relations between our two countries are really amazing, I have to say. We are the second intertrade partner, and the number is quite impressive, because the total trade between Italy and Bosnia is almost 1.5 billion euros. This is nominally 10% of the Bosnian GDP, so it's a huge figure. I can give another example. The first banking system in Bosnia and Herzegovina is Italian. Unicredit and Banca Intesa. Altogether, they make 33% of the market. On top of this, we have at least 70 Italian companies producing in the whole territory of Bosnia and Herzegovina, in both entities. They produce shoes, they produce shirts, ties, socks, leather materials, elements for metals, and this is a big part of our production in the country. Why? Because there are some advantages. We are close, so distance is basically not null. There are some very good fiscal advantages to produce in Bosnia, because if you produce and re-export, you basically do not pay taxes for the year you produce. You have very skilled workers, because this was the heart of the industrial Yugoslavia, so you still have people who know how to work, very prepared. Of course, the cost of energy is among the lowest in Europe. The cost of the salaries, it's less than in Italy, so there is plenty of advantages. Unfortunately, what we have to improve is the perception of the country overseas, the perception in terms of stability of the country, and the perception in terms of corruption, which is a very big issue that sometimes does not incentive entrepreneurs to come and invest in this city, in this country. We have important plans, and the plans have been crafted in a way which is meant to be effective, and I tell you why. First thing, we got from Rome, apart from the emergency, the very first days, we even had some 100 guys from the Italian Protezione Civile, civil protection, working in Bielina and other cities very much heated. And of course we put immediately some money at disposal to the Red Cross in Bosnia. But apart from this, at the pledging conference which took place in Paris in July, Italy pledged 2 million euros for Bosnia and Serbia. But out of these 2 million euros, 1.2 million euros is for Bosnia. We wanted that the government gave this money to us, the embassy, and this is what happened. We got the money. Why? We told the government that we would like to intervene with two criteria. First one, work, of course, with the agreement of the national authority directly with the mayors and the municipalities which were most hit by the floods. And the second element, we wanted to focus this money to make the difference with regard to those micro enterprises who lost everything. And I've been traveling the country, and especially the 6 municipalities that we chose for this intervention, and I can say that micro enterprises that employ between 1 and 4 employees and maybe lost most of the job or most of the structure, with not a big amount of money, we can completely recover them. I'm talking about agriculture, I'm talking about livestock, I'm talking about some small and micro enterprises in cities like Maglai. There we will cover around 80 small and micro enterprises run by women, from barber places to couture places, and most probably we will put on their feet 80 micro enterprises. But in places like Oraše, where we will work, for example, we will refit some meat producing company which was fed by 60 livestock producers. And we made the calculation that it's around 300 workers altogether, which means if you count the families, more than 2,000. So the idea is this one: work straight with the mayors and the local communities on small and micro enterprises to rebuild jobs. Yes, the message is one word: Europe. Do not stop dreaming about the future. Never dream about the past. Never. Dream about the future. Europe, in my view, means... you told about young people. The figure of unemployment among young people here is 60%. People between 14 and 24 years old. 60%. These people should first do as much as they can to educate themselves. Go to school, study. Second, push to get some more Europe in Bosnia. In their field, more Europe means, for example, EU programs like Erasmus, that sometimes for political reasons are stopped in this country. It's plenty of skilled young people who would love to stay in this beautiful country, but because of the lack of employment, they will be obliged somehow to go out of this country. Push. Sooner or later they will vote when they are 18. Sooner or later they will have a leverage with regard to numbers. Push your politicians on concrete European issues like Erasmus, for example, and many other things. So this is my suggestion for the young people. Dream about the future, dream about Europe, and you can do that by being a lobby within the country for your leaders. Europe is the only future, in my view, for Bosnia. There is no other future. Bosnia is a European country, and this future can be done in harmony with all the constituent people of this country. There is no other way. The region is going towards Europe, and Bosnia will follow sooner or later. Meanwhile, the young people should do their best in order to study. You have still good schools, still some good universities with some tradition. Study, make sacrifices, and dream about the future by pushing your leaders now.